Unfortunately, woke corporations seem to have more political power than they've ever had before. No one's doing much about it. One senator, however, is. Josh Hawley from Missouri has just introduced a modern trust-busting agenda. The plan would ban mergers and acquisitions by firms with a market cap over $100 billion. It would also authorize the Federal Trade Commission to regulate dominant digital firms in online markets. Joining us tonight to explain exactly what this would mean and how it might help is Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri. Senator, thanks so much for coming on. What a day you chose to do this. Hours after we learned that the biggest companies in the world are conspiring to change election law. Pretty amazing timing, and not a moment too soon. Tell us what this would do, your plan.
Well, what it would do, Tucker, is actually put the American people back in control of their democracy and no longer these mega corporations. And we've got to remember what our founders knew, which is that monopolies and liberty are not compatible. No corporation should be so big and so powerful that it can control the political process, that it can override the will of the voters. And that's exactly what today's mega corporations who've gotten big and fat with the help of government, what they're trying to do. So here's what my plan would do. First of all, it would break up the big tech companies. Make them spin off their various parts. For instance, Amazon should not be able to have the dominant e-commerce platform and also control the cloud. It would break up the big corporations. No more mergers and acquisitions by the biggest companies in America. Don't allow the big banks to get any bigger. Tough new penalties for corporations that violate our trust laws, and also a new ability for prosecutors to go after these trusts. And at the end of the day, Tucker, a new focus for antitrust law, which is this. It ought to be about promoting competition. Freedom is protected when there's competition, not when there's monopoly.
So the whole reason we have antitrust law is because when you have monopolies, everything beneath them withers and dies. You don't have a real market when you have monopolies. We're watching that now. Why are you the only person who's noticing this in the Congress?
Well, you know, I think for a long time, conservatives have thought that the market, if left to its own devices, will operate smoothly and will ensure freedom. The problem is that when you get monopoly power like this, it crushes competition, and so the market doesn't really operate. You don't get a truly free market. You get a market dominated by a few powerful entities. And the other thing we're learning is this. When you have mass consolidation of economic power, political power follows. Why is it these corporations are able to blackmail Georgia? Why is it that they're able to threaten these other states? It's because they're so powerful. They've achieved monopoly status. This is another reason we've got to break them up. They're too politically powerful because they're too economically powerful.
So this is why they want you off the stage. I notice this is why they're calling you an insurrectionist, because you talk like that. Quickly, do you have a hope of getting people on your side? Republicans and, by the way, Democrats. Will anyone join you in this much-needed effort?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so, Tucker. And I think that on the Republican side, you're really seeing eyes opened to the power and danger of these monopolies. I think voters already know it. I mean, they're living it. They're being censored on social media. They're living in fear of if these banks are going to cancel them, if these big corporations are going to cancel them. And I think that elected officials, Republican elected officials, are listening to voters, are opening their eyes, are realizing the dangers, and it's time to do something about it. It's time to protect the people's liberty.
I hope you will come back and give us the names of those senators who stand in your way. I think it's that important. So I hope that you'll promise to do that. Senator Hawley, thank you.
Thank you.